All right, here we go, guys. Had a moment here, and this is not what I'm talking about today. Is not what I had planned on talking about in this next episode. But as it happens, there's some stuff we're going to do with training down the road. And yesterday I was sitting by the pool with Janelle, with my wife, admiring her in her bikini while we were having a discussion. And the discussion got my juices flowing, got my brain working, and I was like, this is actually timely to what some of the stuff I'm going to be doing with our workouts down the road. So I decided to switch gears. So before I get into it, next week is our second deload week. So for first week of July here in 2024, deload week. I will say tomorrow, Monday, if you do the RX Plus option on the Metcon before we do bench press, that might be your hardest workout of the whole week. It's not long, but it will be fairly intense. Even the RX version will be intense as well. Not quite as much, but the goal of this week is to still get a sweat going, get some workouts in, have moments of intensity, but not as much volume, not as much tense intensity, and come out of next week somewhat refreshed, ready to hit it the week after, and you'll want to do that right going into the week after. So anyways, what brought this on? I was watching a podcast with Brent Fikowski, a longtime games athlete, and a guy that I really feel a kinship with in the mental aspect of how he thinks about workouts, not physically. That's nowhere near, but he's a little bit of a CrossFit nerd, and I like that with how cerebral he is, thinking about sets and reps and rest and strategy and all that kind of stuff. I think he likes to program. I like to program. And he was talking about coaching athletes, and one of the things he finds frustrating with coaching athletes. And it was the ability to stick to a game plan, to stick to a strategy. And he was giving an example. You got a guy, he's like, I got a guy that's doing a workout at a competition, local comp, and you're doing a row, and then it's like 20 toes to bar, and then you're gonna go cycle a heavy barbell. And knowing this guy's strengths and weaknesses, he's like, I told the guy, you're gonna actually chalk up before you row, get on the rower, do the row at a 2:02 pace, get off, you're not going to chalk up. And I love the detail of how specific he was getting with this guy. You're going to go to the bar, do 4 sets of 5 toes to bar, and then you're going to hit that barbell ready to go hard. He's like, so he comes out, everybody's rowing, they're going fast, so he does the row at like a 150 pace instead of a 2:02 for 500 meters. Jumps on the bar, does all 20 toes to bar unbroken, gets to the barbell, and then totally starts petering out as he's going through the barbell. And Brent would go up to me like, what happened? He's like, well, man, like everybody was going faster, so I needed to keep the pace on that row. So I was keeping the pace with them. Then I was feeling really amped when I got off the row. So I was just like, I'm going to hammer out all of these toes to bar, and did so. And then I don't know, I kind of lost it a little bit on the barbell. And Brent's head is exploding. It's like, of course you did. That's why we have the strategy. And so I say that with the fact that I very much relate to that mindset. When I'm doing workouts and I am trying to maximize my own output, power output, I will think about sets and reps and how I'm going to break this up and break this up. And if there's a 3, 4, 5 round workout, my first round, if I do it right, and almost always is the slowest round of the workout. I come into it working, but I'm easing in because of what I want to do at the end of this workout. And so I very much will pace to not redline, to not wear out my muscles at the beginning. When I was talking to Janelle about this, she is more intuitive. She more goes by feel on her workouts. And she doesn't like to break it up in her head in that way. She will do sets and kind of do with what she thinks she has. She has lots of experience too. And I will say she will push as hard as anybody at the end of a workout. Janelle is a little more risk averse than I am, hence a lot of my surgeries and injuries, and that she hasn't had any surgeries. But having said that, we will both push very hard when it is time to push hard in a workout. And she just likes to go about it much more. She kind of likes to turn her brain off and go by feel. And with both strategies, I think both are viable, but both take experience and taking ownership of your own road as an athlete to think about workouts and how I could have done that better and how I could have been more efficient, how I could have increased my power output. Because even if you're not competing, what I've mentioned in last week's episode and before, I refer to you guys as athletes because CrossFit does make you an athlete. There is actually strategy to a lot of what we do. And not just, there is skill, there is stamina, there is mental fortitude, which we're going to get into a lot here in just a second. But all of that, you don't get the chance to demonstrate a lot of that stuff outside of sport once you become an adult. And I think that's why a lot of people who are competitive are attracted to CrossFit, because this is a way to have those kind of strategies, to work on your mental toughness, to work on your physical strategies, sets and rest, and really think about it, that you're not going to get in a lot of other methods of training, your everyday kind of training method to stay fit. But I say that with the fact that here's what you need. Here's the life cycle, part of the life cycle of a CrossFit athlete. You have to know, and you only know this from experience, do I have the guts to go really hard in the last part of a workout, in the last 20%, in the last 10%? When I'm already hurting and tired, will I hurt more? Will I push to a place that is very painful? And there's degrees to this, because guys, if you're listening to this, if you do CrossFit regularly, you're willing to work hard. You can't hide. If you do CrossFit long enough, you can't hide from hard work. You're not going to get away from it. The way I program, you're not going to get away from hard work. But even within that, there are degrees. We all know that. There is the, I worked hard, walking around with my hands on my hips, worked hard. There is the, I'm thrashing around on the floor and then staying up to bolt outside before I puke kind of work hard. And not that you need to do that all the time, but just to demonstrate the fact that there are degrees to how hard you will work. And when you are a veteran, and I would say an experienced, a good person doing CrossFit, regardless of whether you compete or not, you will have the ability, and you will do it when it's necessary, to turn up the pace, not down, in the last 10, 15, 20% of a workout. Kind of depends on the time frame of the workout. If you're doing Murph, can that last quarter mile of the run be the fastest part of that last mile? If you're doing Grace, 35 clean and jerks for time, can you speed it up a little bit on the last 5, 6, 7 reps? If you're doing Cindy, we just did the other day, 20-minute AMRAP of 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats. In the last 2 minutes, can you turn up the volume and get an extra, and get 2 rounds or 2 rounds plus in the last 2 minutes? You have to know this about yourself, and that is something why I say you have to take ownership of your own life cycle as an athlete. Because sometimes, this is why I was talking about, in the last episode, why I get nervous. I get nervous because you're only as good as your last workout. And I know I will not quit. I will do the workout. In fact, there's times I probably should have quit in the past, and I have not. But there are still times when you're done, and I'm done, and I'm a minute later, I know I could have gone a little bit harder at the end. And those moments kind of stick in my craw. Is that where, I don't know where your craw is, but it sticks in my craw. But I remember those moments more than the successes. The successes where I was able to turn up the volume and make my hardest part of the workout and push the hardest in the last minute, 2 minutes, 90 seconds. I'm satisfied. It's like, whew, I did it right that day. I did good. I'm satisfied. But the ones I think about in the car on the way home, the ones I stew over when I'm programming, or when I remember you didn't quite have the resolve, you didn't quite have the guts to go a little bit harder at the end when you were really tired. Yeah, you felt bad, but as soon as you were done, you knew you could have gone a little bit harder. And I guarantee all of us have been there and done that. This is why also I'm not a very good gambler. I remember the money I've lost so much longer and more. In my 20s, I went to Vegas a lot with the company I worked for. I went to Vegas a bunch of times. So we would blackjack, craps, all that kind of stuff. And I definitely won sometimes. And great, I felt relieved. I still remember to this day a couple of the times I had losses, and I'm like, you are such an idiot. It just burns me, which is why I don't gamble anymore. It's not fun for me. In the same way with workouts, I remember those moments I didn't have the guts I would like to think I have. I didn't have the resolve that I expect of myself at the end of the workout. So having said that, what I'm talking about here is your willingness to hurt, and that being your measurement for success on any given day in a workout. Because if you pace right, at the end of a workout, you are very tired, but you've paced right, You can go harder at a pace that is not sustainable for very long and is going to come with a cost, but you can do it. And what I mean by that, if it's an under 10-minute workout, if my max heart rate is 180, I should be able to go most of the time at almost 90% of my heart rate. If it's 180, I can be cruising between 155 and a 170 heart rate. That's an uncomfortable place to be. If it's a longer workout, it's still probably 75% of my heart rate. So we're talking, 140, 150, 155, up to 160. You're cruising at a high level, and then you still floor it a little bit more at the end. If you're the type of athlete that doesn't know if you'll floor it at the end, then I understand the strategy of, I'm going to come out of the gates hot. I'm going to go as hard as I can on the first 2 rounds to try and buy myself as much time as I can, that I know I'm going to lose at the end, because I'm going to not go as hard as I should on the last round. I'm going to be redlined and dead. That is, to me, a process we all have to go through. But when you're a conscious athlete that works at getting better, you don't have to use that strategy as much, because you know you will push at the end, so you can take it a little more conservatively at the beginning. At the beginning, if I don't know when it's hard, when it's hurting really bad, if I'm going to go hard, then try and buy yourself as much time by going balls out on the first 2 rounds and holding on for dear life the rest of the workout. And as well, when you're in the gym, and we all have our peers, we all have the people that are our age group, similar level. If you do a workout and so here, like, I'm a better athlete than them, and they beat you, and then you're like, I was a failure that day, that's a terrible way to measure yourself as a CrossFitter. And unfortunately, I think that's how most CrossFitters measure a lot of their success is, whoever I think I'm better than, I didn't beat them that day. Well, guess what? You're not better than them. On that day, in that workout, you weren't. I'm telling you, who cares? What I want you to measure yourself is after a minute after the workout, 90 seconds after the workout, are you like, yep, I turned it on at the end. I pushed a little bit harder at the end. I did not slow down on my burpees. I did the last 5 power cleans touch and go. I pushed the hardest when it mattered at the end. That is what you measure your success on. And whatever time that yields, great. You maximized your potential output that day. And that's what I want you to measure your success on. So this has been a long belaboring of this point about pacing and resolve. The reason I talk so long is a big part of this is mental, which is why I want to make you think about it. The other part is, part of our training, you guys have noticed, I've thrown in a lot more stretching, because I'm trying to help with your recovery, expedite the start of the recovery process in the body. But having said that, I'm going to start implementing what I will call active recovery, which is, after a workout, we will rest 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So not very long, just enough time, since we are all recovery machines. Experienced CrossFitters are recovery machines that learn to get the heart rate down quickly. As soon as it's gotten down, let's say it was at 175, you're down to below 130 or something like that. Either using machines or a PVC or a barbell, we will start working those same muscles that were being used in the workout very slowly, very deliberately, not at fast. But because you're moving an object or working on a machine, it's going to push the heart rate a little bit back up, not to where you were in the workout, but higher than the resting heart rate. And you're going to do this for 2 to 5 minutes, not a long time. But the strategy behind this is, I'm trying to increase your stamina and your body's ability to process the waste product in your muscles through your slow twitch muscle fibers, so that you not only mentally can become more capable, having us talked about this, but physically, your muscles have more stamina and recovery ability. So this has been a long-winded way to explain the why of why you'll see these active recovery little things I'm throwing it into the workout, that when I've been throwing in stretches, we're still going to do stretching. That's still a key too. But I'm adding this in as well, because I think it's a stepping stone to further me making our workouts each day as efficient as they can be. So that, like, next year, when it maybe does matter, when we do the open again, and now I am kind of competing, I'm measuring myself against my peers. I've been practicing the mental aspect of being tough, and as the program on my end, I'm helping your body be as physically capable as possible to have that stamina, have that recovery ability, so that you can turn it on in the last 10-20% of a workout. All right, guys, I talked a lot there, and let me just say, so a week from Monday, we're doing a workout from the age group semifinals this last year. We're going in 2 heats, This is a workout that will very much demonstrate what I'm talking about, is can you turn it on when it hurts? Because I saw this workout and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing that. It's short, it's painful, and it's the kind of workout you can push at the end, but are you going to be willing to? Because it's the kind of thing you can force. Are you willing to force it? So we'll see. So now you can have a knot in your stomach for the next 7 days, anticipating that. Right on, guys. Happy 4th of July. Talk to you soon.